Well, my name is Tanya James.
And I'm Lamont James.
In June, we'll be married 30 years.
I'm Mason Arkwright.
Sheila Arkwright. And we have been married for a year and a half.
Yes.
James and Asha Cleveland. We've been married for just a little over a month.
I'm Warren Burrell. My wife Vivian. We've been married 31 years. September will be 32.
Hey, what do you see? Yammy and Teal?
Let me say, I ironed this out last night.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Did you really?
Well, I don't kill the feeling.
Actually, our aunts hung out as teenagers together, and we wound up going to the same, what they call it, elementary school. We was in the 2nd, 3rd grade together.
Part of 4.
And part of 4. No, I wasn't in the 4th because I was out of the school by 4th. But yeah, we basically went to grammar school, and from there, we always knew each other. Our families always knew each other, so you know.
We reconnected in high school.
Yeah.
We reconnected, what, 10th grade?
Yeah, her cousin went to my high school, and I asked about her, and we wound up hooking up then, just talking. But
just friends.
It got funny because she asked me to go to her prom.
I didn't ask you to go to my prom. I asked you if you had a prom date.
I had a prom date. We were just talking at this point. Prom was already set for me. It was a late date with her. So she asked me if was I eligible for the prom. I told her yeah. But when she found out I had a prom date for my own prom, then she skipped out on me.
How did you two meet?
Well, which version you want?
The real version?
We can get both versions because we know it's 2 sides, okay?
Because I would tell the detailed version. He was like, nah. So we met we actually knew each other since like 2016? 2017, we knew each other because we both worked in the same building. He worked for the building and I worked as a tenant in the building with the company I was with. And so we would see each other in passing all the time, never made a big deal about it, say little hi and byes and how's your day and you look nice and da-da-da-da, here and there. And then that was like for like almost till closer to 2019 is pretty much when February around Valentine's Day came around and he saw some flowers on my desk and I was coming because there were 2 buildings, so I was coming from my building to where his building was. And so I was leaving out, and as I was leaving out, he was like, oh, I saw some flowers on your desk. I was like, it's not for nobody, it's for my director. He was like, I don't believe you got somebody or something of that nature. And I was like, no, I don't have anybody to give me the flowers or whatever the case may be. And he was like, I don't believe it. Like, he didn't believe me. And I was like, believe it, and walked out. And then when I came, it's the same day, because maybe like a couple hours later, he saw me kind of passing by our main door back in our building. And he was like, and I came to the door, opened it. He was like, can I have your contact information? And I was like, my work information, my personal. And he was
Why do I need the work?
Hold on,
we work in the same building.
who said?
I don't need the work information.
So we met in college, and 5 years ago, we would do this thing called partying. And it was at one of my sorority parties, and we're out doing our little Delta thing, and my girlfriend says to me, why is this guy at the end of our line? I'm thinking, what are you talking about? And I turn around and he is doing our little Delta stroll with us. So at every party, he would come up and feel like he was my partner, doing whatever dance it was and not allowing me to dance with anybody else. So we were friends, and from there he just kind of would not go away. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, she's right. I had been out. We come in and was at the tail end of one of their parties, Delta parties. And, came in at the end and they were doing their thing. And first time ever seeing her, and had been at Troy 2 years already. And it's like, wow, who is this girl? She was at the end of the line. I noticed her. And I didn't realize it was something I was supposed to join in on. So I went in at the tail of the line, grabbed her, and it ended off with a song. And she gave me her number that night. And I didn't call her. I remembered her number though. But probably about a month later, my club, formulated the boys, we had a party and she was there. She was dancing with somebody else, and I saw, that's my girl. So I went, I'm like, no, man, that's my dance here. So the rest is history. Started talking and danced together for the rest of the night. And I did call her that Sunday. And she haven't been able to get rid of me since.
Did you answer after 5 weeks of that?
I did. It was a fun time because funny enough, I said, do you have a girlfriend? Yeah, got a lot of girlfriends. It's like, okay. So for me, I was like, okay, he's one of those dudes, right? Fun, but I know where he stands. So I think about, before Steve Harvey 90-day rule, I was like, we got to put the brakes on this. You're fun, but we're not going anywhere with this. He just thought that was the worst thing. Where do you get this from? I don't understand you. What do you mean? So it was an interesting process of getting to know her.
You want me to start off?
I want you to go ahead and tell the story and I'll correct it as necessary.
Well, I was a police officer, Gwinnett County Police Department. She was a dispatcher.
Training officer, go ahead.
Training officer.
Corporal, go ahead. Right.
Anything else?
And I just want to make sure that we know that I was
Let me get all your titles.
No, go ahead. That's okay. That's cool.
And she used to like send me these messages on my MDT, this a portable computer that how we communicated with the dispatchers. And I felt like she was flirting with me, but little did I know she really wasn't. It was just something in my mind. So I thought this person liked me that probably didn't like me, but I made her like me.
What he's trying to say is that anytime units went out on like an area check, they would have to check in with radio. So they would message us. An area check is nothing. That means you're not on a call. You probably don't have no interaction with nobody. So instead of going over the radio to say, hey, are you okay? Which is my responsibility the first 4 minutes and every 10 minutes subsequent to that, I would just send out a message. That's what he said was me flirting.
But she was the only one that everybody else went over the radio. She used to send me a message. So
I used to send out community messages.
This is very peculiar.
Community messages. He would be in a message with other people.
No, that's not what.
Because they were all out doing this. But I was flirting with them. But go ahead.
Yeah. And that's what I felt. And I said, one day I think she sent me a message. I was like, let's meet up after work. And then we met up at McDonald's. And then she was just so beautiful. But I had already saw her. I used to see her walk around the park. I was like, who this girl with this afro? It looks so mean all the time.
That's accurate.
That was accurate.
She had an afro. She's wearing afro with a fight the power pig in her head. You know,
for the police department.
For the police department, around all these Caucasians trying to stir up trouble.
I had to let them know. Listen, I'm here, but also.
And then we met at McDonald's, and the rest is history.
Aside from the beginning part, that is the most accurate. That's the first time you've ever accurately told the story of how we met.
Oh, I'm glad I got it right.
Yeah, amen.
All right, so what was the first official date?
The problem with this question is that
the first official date, from what I read, was at my apartment. I cooked her dinner. And, she came to the park.
You're gonna get to know me for real.
So I invited her over to my apartment, and I had prepared I had a cake for her that I told her I think I really did.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about that cake. Yeah. You're such a liar.
And I had made some chicken at dinner. We had a little dinner at the house.
Want me to go first or you?
Oh, you can go.
So we actually met on eHarmony. online dating, and I think we talked on there for a couple of weeks. We talked on eHarmony, and then we started talking on Google Hangout for about a month. So we would do like the video chatting and all that stuff before we actually saw each other face to face. I'll let him take over from there.
Oh, well, I chose her sight unseen because I was, to be honest, refusing to pay for eHarmony. I was using the free weekends. So.
Totally with you. Don't worry about it.
So I'm the one who convinced her to switch over to on Hangouts, Google Hangouts, so I didn't have to pay for the eHarmony. But I decided to take it slow because I really wanted to get to know someone, you know, mentally instead of physically or anything like that.
I guess with the traditional way of dating, you kind of see he didn't see me at all. He didn't know what I looked like or any of that stuff. He just knew what my profile said on eHarmony. And I, on the other hand, I knew what he looked like. And so, you know, with traditional dating, you will see the person and, you know, you can scope them out and say, oh yeah, you know, this is my type. We didn't do any of that stuff. So it was more of getting to know him and knowing who he was as opposed to what he looked like or, you know, what he had and all this other stuff that people typically like to look for. I think we had some really in-depth conversations when we were talking on Google Hangout. When we were on eHarmony, I think it was more limited because he wasn't paid, I was paid. And so it was more limited on there. So then we switched over to Google Hangout and it was more in-depth. So we would do, you know, like phone conversations. I don't even think we had exchanged phone numbers at that point. It was just we had exchanged email addresses so we could talk to each other on Google Hangout. So when we met in person, we actually met at a Popeyes down the street from my house. And the funny thing about it is that when he pulled up, okay, so I had my old car, which was my Nissan Sentra. It didn't have any air. It barely had a radio. It was a horrible situation. The very first thing he said to me was, oh, we have to upgrade you. And I was like, oh, he ain't talking about my car.
Yeah. I was being respectful of her situation. I didn't know if she was in the situation at the time.
Relationship,
you know, the way she carried herself, I like, she has to be involved with somebody. So I just checked her out, you know, like I said, just hi and bye, how you doing, nothing extravagant. And she was pretty much right as far as the Valentine's Day situation. I did ask about, well, actually, I said, why are you still here? It's Valentine's Day. You supposed to be at home with your boo. And she, I don't have a boo. Okay, so, hey, about an hour later, I saw her in her office. Yeah, come on up here. Yeah, so she had it right. She had it right. Yeah.
Well, actually, she's right. You know, I approached her thinking things was gonna be business as usual, but she was actually the first actually young lady that made me respect her, and you know, kept spending time. After a while, I'm like, dog, you know, I like this girl. You know, next thing I know, I'm telling my dad about her and all this kind of stuff. But you know, we just grew together.
This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. I had been married before. Before our union, I had been married. I was not necessarily interested in having a boyfriend. I just wanted to have fun. And he was fun. So I was having a good time. That's where I was at. And I was honest about it.
I think my first thought after the first day, I thought she was pretty cool. I wasn't so much sure if I wanted to be with you at the time, but I thought you was somebody that I wanted to have around and get to know as a friend. I did know that.
To be a friend.
Right. I wanted to get to know more.
Okay. You, yeah. To be my friend?
Yeah.
Okay.
To get to know more. Yeah. I thought she was pretty dope.
To get to know me intimately?
That's not what they asked.
Well, besides, she was very pretty, but you know, I only seen headshots, so I didn't know she was actually skinnier. So that's what shocked me.
He thought I was a big girl. Was you disappointed I wasn't a big girl?
No, I mostly dated skinny girls playing sports and things like that. So, yeah.
So our first date, we actually went to Folks, which was because I lived in Tucker at the time, so it was down in Tucker, and it wasn't that far from my house. But I think he chose Folks because he likes catfish nuggets, and they had catfish nuggets there. Because I remember that's what he ordered.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Found it more like being with an old friend, and that's when I noticed she was very talkative. You know, talked to me like I've known her for 10 years, and it made it very easy to me.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard at all because I think because we had communicated so much before that, it kind of made it easier when we had the first date. So it wasn't that awkward first date that people typically have. It was more so of a second or third date because we had already met we had already met, you know, via Google Hangout, and then we met face to face when we were at Popeyes. So this was more so of a, hey, let's sit down and eat type thing.
Yeah, so he didn't need to go to my prom. So he went to his prom and I went to my prom.
But after we graduated is when we basically hooked up, and we've been together ever since. 1984. We've been together ever since.
It was literally the Sunday after he graduated, because I think he graduated like a day or two after me, and it was a Sunday.
And that could have been June 20th, June 22nd, which is funny because June 22nd is the day we got married.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have all been in that same time span as far as June is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So what got you back in good graces after the whole prom?
We was never in bad graces. It was just that I was in a relationship with someone at that time, going to the prom, and she just asked me I got a phone call.
Yeah, because we were just friends at that point.
So it didn't work out for me and the person after the prom, and forces put us together forever.
And my mom and my aunt, they just loved it because all the families knew each other and they just thought it was the greatest thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the switch went off for me was when I found out his old girlfriend got off the bus down the street from his house, so that meant she was going to his house. That's when I realized how much I really liked him.
See, why don't you just say it was the first time you saw me with my afro out, that you really wanted to be with me, and that you knew that you loved me, and you wanted to love me forever. Just say that, because that's true.
Well, that's it.
Whatever.
No, I think it got serious for me. One day I was down and I was hurting for like some money, and I had to pay for, what was it? I had to pay a lawyer for something. And then, you showed me that, she really cared. She helped me out. And I was like, man, you did.
Yeah, because you were my friend, so that makes sense.
Yep, I knew that, I had the money.
Because I gave you money?
No, it wasn't the money, it was your heart. You helped me out.
Yeah.
I was hurt. Now they didn't even ask.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Now they didn't even ask. You just said I got you.
I'm so rich, man. When did I know that it was getting serious with you? At the point where if anybody who's worked in communications or in a comm center where you had to be on the phone a lot, you don't like talking to people. That's just fair. At the point where we were talking a lot more, because Tim, if you know him, don't like the text. He will give you the first 2 text messages, and after that, radio silence. But I think at the point where we were talking like after shifts or more frequently, I knew it was serious. I knew it was serious on my end.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it was more after our second date and just how she would always conversate with me and check in on me, because I'll be honest, I guess for playing sports, I date a lot of selfish women, you could say. So to have somebody actually put energy into me made a lot of sense.
I knew it was serious when I got sick and I had to go to the hospital, and he was there. Like, he did not leave at all. And then on top of that, when I got discharged, he took me to his house in Ellenwood and was like, you're staying here until they say that you can go back to work. So I was like, okay.
We went to Avalon.
That was the first date.
Yeah.
We did like a lunch thing, but then like date.
Yeah, we went to Avalon up in Alpharetta.
Yeah.
I was on call.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was on call, and we just got to Avalon, got out the car, walked to. We were going into one of the restaurants or something, and my phone went off, and I had to go back to my building, and she drove me to the building, drove me straight to the building, and I'm like, I'm not sure how long it's going to take. But she stood in there, and I had to go take care of some engineering stuff, and finished up about an hour later, and we went back to Avalon and got our little ice cream, and from Jenny's ice cream, her favorite.
That's where we go. Side. Some today.
Yeah, so that's what it was. We just sat and talked and got to know each other.
And might I add, like, the conversations are like, not random, just love conversation, but intriguing. So, we talked about legit stuff, which is, I like that. We just talk about, so like, what you like to do all the time? Like, I can't, but he was, because he's very mature. So I think that was the biggest thing too on our first date.
Well, she told me I was going to have to work for it. She was like, it's not going to be easy. I'm not going to make it easy for you. I'm like, okay. So that kind of got me going as far as wanting to know a little bit more and dig deeper into what she was all about.
So when did you guys know that things were starting to get serious, or feel that things were starting to get serious between you two?
I guess when we started meeting in the stairwell.
Ain't no hiddle fiddle, okay guys? There was no hiddle fiddle, alright? Make sure that's clear. Hey,
I'm keeping 100 with you.
It's unfiltered.
It's unfiltered, you're right, but there's no hiddle fiddle.
We just meet in the stairwell and just talk for a little while.
Yeah.
I get a little kiss, on back to work.
It's funny because honestly, just out of the caution for him though, because his job, we didn't want like any conflict. But I just that's when we could just have a quick little conversation. And honestly, I even let him kiss me for a while. I only let him kiss me on the cheek. That was just something that I was like, no, not yet. But I think for me, I feel like it took a minute, even though there was a cute little stuff, talking here. It still took me a minute to be like, oh, this is serious. Just because of my mindset, I was such a strong single mindset. Like, it took a minute to break.
It was serious for me. I knew, weirdly enough, I knew he was the one, but I just wasn't prepared to take that step because I could tell he wasn't ready. And so I think God just allowed me, even though I wasn't where I was spiritually in that walk, I think he just allowed me to have patience and just kind of enjoy him for where he was. Because I'm thinking, this guy's really crazy. You just really think I'm supposed to do this.
And also another thing about when I met her, this was like 87. I shouldn't say the date. But she had a brand new car, fresh out the lot. I'm like, wow, that's some money here. And you started getting a relationship and everything, and kind of find out the struggle was real. So with that, I joined in on the struggle with her, and I think that helped us grew together as well too, because one time I woke up and I saw her, she was counting pennies, putting the change together. You know, don't worry about it, just pray. And when I said that, kind of struck a chord with her, and she's like, wow, this dude believes in prayer.
Yeah.
And I saw that, I was like, oh, I hit something. You know, so, but in college, I joined in with her, and we was inseparable from there.
Yeah. I do want to say this. He's right. I was that person, military, working, going to school, trying to make it happen, and was, you know, wanted to not be that person that a relationship was about supporting financially. And I never asked him for anything. But when he said, pray about it, I never heard any male say that. You know, it was always, I got you with strings. And that kind of freed me. And as I prayed and recognized, and we hung out more, as I told him, the funny part for me is that I literally said to him, I know you'll be my husband. If not, I won't marry anybody. He was like, hold on. We're not there, right? And I'm like, no, I'm just saying to you, I know this to be the truth. By the time we got to the serious part, he was like, we're still doing this, right? We're gonna do this. So it was so good to recognize that he had bought in just as much as I had, is that, yeah, we're supposed to be together.
I knew it around that prom date time that I had feelings for her. And I knew that it was over for me and the other person at that time. So I just pushed up, and you know, and there's nothing no one can tell you. There's nothing no one can try to, you know, just push you towards it. You know, as a person, you just know, and I knew. Yes, there was no doubt that she was going to be my wife. And I always told her that we would grow old together. We did. And from 84 or 37, 30 something years, 30, like that, 38, 37 years go by, and we're getting old.